Welcome back to the Contributor Corner for Run Radio. Our contributor today is Michele Rickman with Michele Rickman Coaching, offering some insight to everyone in business and then some. So what do you have for us today?
Well, today I've been thinking a lot about this and seeing a lot of people maybe even struggle with this. And we've heard a lot out there about coming from a place of abundance instead of lack. There's so many books out there and podcasts and all kinds of things. But I kind of like to simplify this for those of us in business, especially solopreneurs, new entrepreneurs, is to focus on what is instead of what isn't.
Okay.
This is a big one. Sometimes we get really caught in this trap of thinking about what isn't. Maybe I don't have enough funding. Maybe I'm not getting as many clients through the door as the goal that I set. Maybe there is another competitor who's doing better than I am. Maybe, and that's all perception, because maybe that's true and maybe it's not. Once we get started focusing on what isn't, it steals brain power from us to get what we want, to get where we are. It actually takes us backward by focusing on what isn't. So instead, we have to shift our gears and focus on what is. So example would be, maybe your goal at this point in your business is to be working with 20 clients a month, and you're only working with 15 clients a month. Sometimes we can get really caught on that concept of, well, I only have 15. I only have 15. That word only starts limiting us to what isn't instead of what is. So if we say, well, I was shooting for 20, but I have 15. I am working with 15 clients. So now I got 15, I can get 5 more. I can put that out there, ask questions, all of those things. Maybe it's the amount of sales that you need to do in a month. Maybe your goal is to sell $5,000 of something in a month and you're at 2,500. Well, my goal was to sell 5,000, but I only hit 2,500. Again, there's that word only. That's limiting. And you take away brain power thinking about what you don't have instead of focusing on what you do have. Once you start focusing on what is, you start to open your thought process up to how to get the rest of the way to where you're going. And I think I hear this a lot when I sit down with my clients. I hear a lot of I can't, or I didn't, or I don't have. And one of the things that I have to do with them before we can even start talking about how to talk about their business is we have to change that self-talk and get them focusing on what is. And it really sounds so small and so simple, and it is, but it is so huge for your success. Once you start shifting that thought process and focusing on what you have, what you've done, what you've accomplished, it propels you forward and your sales go up, your clients increase, you start connecting with more people, all of those things. You stop mentally holding yourself down and back with that.
What do you think the difference is? Because I've had some mornings where I've thought, man, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. And then I'll actually remember something that did happen. And it does, I'm like, oh, well, that did happen. And I feel like, I know for me, it kind of changes that shift where it is a confidence thing. But what do you think else is really making that difference or that switch in our head?
Well, a couple of things. Actually, there's a physical thing that happens to you. When you are thinking from what is, it gives you more dopamine. It elevates your serotonin. It actually gets your brain going in the right direction. So it works with your subconscious. Your subconscious is a very literal thing. And so whatever you tell it is what it believes. So if you tell your subconscious, I'm only capable of doing this, I was only able to get here, you're limiting that thought process, because that's what your brain begins to fixate on. So when you shift that to, I did this, I accomplished this, like what you said, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. But is that truth? Is that just perception, or is that true? And so when you start looking at the truth, you're looking at the what is of it. And that actually motivates you to get back on that phone, to reach out to the people you need to reach out to make that next sale, all of those things.
Good stuff. Lots of wisdom from Michele Rickman Coaching. Learn more about her, all of our contributors, and listen at runradio.net. Thank you.